Alright, so here we go with the video number 3. We'll finish up this series of 3 videos by talking about the essay, the vocabulary, and PSATs, right? So in video 1 we talked about when, we talked about the idea that you need a significant amount of time, you should start early to prepare for the SAT. In video 2 we talked about the idea that you shouldn't pick the big name sort of generic course, you should be picking more of a small courses, small number of people where you will get a lot of feedback on your practice, where you will get sort of one-on-one with an instructor, okay? Now we'll finish up. Let's talk about the essay first. How important is the essay? Well, honestly, it's not all that important. Think about it. The essay is no longer, unlike the last SAT, the essay is no longer part of your big SAT score. When the colleges tell you, hey, we want 1400, 1500, essay is not a part of it. So I'm not all that worried about the essay. That said, it is of course nice to score well, and it might benefit you ultimately. I mean, it's not gonna make or break you, let's face it, but it will and it might benefit you, okay? So, the takeaway is this: do not sacrifice the SAT study for preparation for the essay. Do not sacrifice it. But if you have a little bit of time, do spend a little bit of time on the essay. There are a lot of good online resources for that. I will mention some. Shortly, I will invite you to a webinar of mine. And in that webinar, I will mention some resources for the essay. But that said, I would not make it a priority. Number 2, vocabulary. How important is vocabulary? It's not as important as it used to be. So on the SATs before, there was a separate vocabulary section. It's no longer there. The new SAT does not have a separate vocabulary section. Therefore, vocabulary has become less important. And very few courses these days will have a separate vocabulary lessons. They're simply not necessary. However, vocabulary is still very important. It is very important because vocabulary will come up a lot in a context of reading and writing section of the SAT. You can easily, and people who have a weak vocabulary can easily lose anywhere from 3 to 5, 6 questions. That's a lot, just based on the vocabulary. And obviously you don't want to do that. The thing to know about the vocabulary is you cannot prepare, you cannot learn your words, your SAT words, over a month or 2. It takes much longer. So if you follow my advice from the video 1 and you start early, then learning the vocabulary should become a weekly task. And there's a lot of websites, a lot of books that give you weekly vocabulary, okay? Now, I'm gonna come up with my little vocabulary program shortly. And again, I will explain how that works in a webinar, but this is not really important. There's a lot of really good ones out there. So that takes care of the vocabulary. Finally, PSAT. Now here's the thing about PSAT. Please do not waste your time and money preparing for PSAT separately. When you start your preparation, you start preparing for the SAT. That's it. Just prepare for the SAT. That's what the colleges are looking for. The college is not gonna look at your PSAT score, okay? Start early, start preparing for the SAT, and that by default, automatically will prepare you for the PSAT. If you get ready for the SAT, you will be ready for the PSAT, okay? There's only one big benefit to the PSAT. If you start early, you have a shot of qualifying for the National Merit Scholarships. Now again, I'll talk more about what it takes to qualify in the webinar. And really, the truth be told, it's super difficult to do. Only top 3% qualify. So I would not make it a project in itself. However, again, if you start early for the SAT and prepare early for the SAT, your chances are higher of qualifying for the National Merit Scholarship. Besides that, PSAT does not carry a weight of its own. It's a good starting point for most of the students. It's just a really nice way to get an introduction into the SAT, to know where they are, and you can kind of use it as a baseline as the baseline for the SAT. Well, that completes our 3-part video series. I hope you've learned something useful. I know you did. Shortly, please look for the email. Shortly, I will invite you to a 1-hour or less webinar where I'll answer all your questions. Please email me those. I will answer all your questions and also maybe expand and elaborate on some of the points I made in these 3 videos, and talk in general a little bit more about how to prepare, when to prepare, and parts of the SAT preparations. Thank you again, and I will see you in the webinar.